everybody. This is Dawn McLendon at St. Helena's. I'm the children and youth pastor here, and I'm excited to talk to you this morning because I want to share a story with you. I want to share a story that happened about 6 or 7 years ago in our high school youth group. I gave the high school teams, I paired the kids up and I gave them these huge pieces of like bulletin board paper. They were 6, 7 feet long, and I asked the question. I said, where is it that we begin to be Christ followers? Like, what do we do? And all sorts of things happened. I mean, we had markers and crayons and big, bold words showed up on top of these big pieces of paper and drawings of people doing different things. And I remember vaguely that part, but there was one poster in particular that really stuck with me. In fact, it stuck with me so much that as we threw those big pieces of paper away at the end of the evening, I, on the other hand, kept one piece. And I kept it and I framed it and I put it across from my desk. I see it every single day. And this was one of the drawings that 2 sophomore boys did. This is what they said we do when we begin to be Christ followers. When I look at that, I begin to think about scripture that speaks to me from this piece of art, this very simple piece of art. It makes me think of when Jesus has encountered a religious scholar. And in this story, they ask him a very basic question. They're asking about eternity. They're asking about their life after this life. And this religious scholar literally says, what do we do? And Jesus, being in the form that we love, he answers a question with a question. And he says, well, what does Scripture say? And what do you understand about what it says? And so the scholar, of course, says, well, it says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your mind and all that you have, and love your neighbor. And Jesus gives them like the thumbs up and says, yes, go live that. And then trying to catch a little loophole in there, the scholar says, well, what is a neighbor? And this is where the story becomes very familiar because the story is about the Good Samaritan. That's how Jesus teaches this. The reason that this piece of art reminds me about the Good Samaritan story is because what happens in its most basic form in that story is that there's a guy on the side of the road. He's hurt, he's been beat up, he's been robbed, and people walk by. And I imagine if we'd been standing there, we wouldn't have heard what they were thinking. They wouldn't just walk by and just say out loud what they were thinking. They might have thought, not him, not me. We don't belong together. Or they might have thought, I don't want to be part of this. Or they might have thought, he's dirty, I'm clean. They might have thought a lot of different things. But then we hear the story of the Samaritan, and we begin to see his thoughts. I love this line. If you read Eugene Peterson's The Message, he says specifically, these are his words, he says, his heart went out to him. See, he had thoughts like everybody else as he was walking down that road. But from his thoughts, it moved to his heart, and his heart went out to him. And so we know the story. He goes and he scoops the man up, he bandages him, he takes him to a place, he pays for his medical care. He does that because he had a thought. He had a thought that was about love. About love. I think, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of feeling this little Beatles moment here. Are you feeling it? Yeah, something like this. Here it is. And these times where so much is being blasted at us, so much information to take in, I think we turn to Scripture. And in Scripture, we don't need all of that. All we need is love, a love for God and a love for neighbor. So be blessed in this day as you go forward, and let that be the foremost thing in your thoughts, not all the rest of the stuff blasted at us. Let it be love. Bye.